Imagine a world where every moment of silence is interrupted by a ping, a buzz, a flickering screen begging for your attention. You reach, almost without thought, and find yourself drawn into a spiral of content. Notifications, headlines, online updates. Never quite satiated. What if this isn't accidental? What if your focus has become a battlefield? Welcome to the Sirens Call. How Attention Became the World's Most Endangered Resource by Chris Hayes, a powerful meditation on how our capacity to pay attention, the very essence of our inner lives, has been captured and commodified. In this book summary, we'll journey through Hayes' narrative, exploring the myths, the science, the consequences, and most importantly, the possibility of reclaiming our minds. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Sirens' Call. Our story opens in the ancient grooves of Greek myth. Odysseus, strapped to the mast, determined not to succumb to the siren song. That siren promised ecstasy, but brought ruin. Hayes reimagines this myth for the digital age. The sirens? Not creatures from folklore. They're in your pocket, in your palm. They chirp with every notification.
Tweet.
Autoplay video. They're seductive. Irresistible. He tells us this isn't just about shoddy self-control. It's about a design, digital architecture engineered to override willpower. The platforms know exactly how to make you click, scroll, subscribe, how to make you come back. But could it be possible to loosen those bonds? That's the question that drives Hayes, and now drives us, too. Because resistance isn't just possible, it's necessary. Chapter 2. Attention as the Substance of Life. What is attention? It's not just concentration, not just distraction. It's the very fabric of our existence. Hayes quotes psychologist William James. "My experience is what I agree to attend to." In other words, your life is literally what you choose or are tricked to focus on. Your moments, your memories, your personality, all shaped, moment by your attention. He shares a vivid childhood memory, wandering through an art museum with his daughter, age 5. She presses her nose to the glass, utterly absorbed by a painting. Hayes, meanwhile, is checking his phone, thinking, "What did I miss?" That moment is crystallized in his mind. This wasn't just distraction, it was a revelation, a recognition that we're losing something sacred, the ability to simply look, to just sit, to just be. Chapter 3. The Attention Age. With the invention of the printed book, attention became portable. With radio and television, it became centralized. But something new happened with the internet and smartphones. It became extractable. In this chapter, Hayes coins a new term, the attention age. It's the era where attention isn't just personal, it's economic. It is time-billed, bought and sold like oil or grain. He warns that attention isn't just being shifted from one thing to another, it's being extracted, processed, refined, and packaged. And the problem isn't leisure or distraction, it's that ground level of mining what makes us us. He writes, "Our focus is worth more than gold, if only the platforms could turn it into profit." Here begins a deeper question. What happens when the most fundamental part of our humanity becomes a resource to be exploited? Chapter 4. The Psychology of the Hook. By now, you might be wondering, how exactly do these platforms hook us? Hayes walks us through the psychology behind the Pluton's power, techniques born in the labs of behavioral psychology and fine-tuned to the scroll of a thumb. Intermittent reward schedules, dopamine hits, social validation loops, infinite scroll, autoplay, notifications that swell your heart rate, all triggered by finely tuned design, every bit optimized to pull your towel until you can't resist. He shares an anecdote from a former YouTube engineer who recalls, "We never meant for people to binge 6 hours nonstop. The system was only meant to keep you watching." But watch they did, sometimes into the early hours of the morning because the systems were, again, optimized for engagement. Not humanity. Those systems don't stop at curiosity. They don't quench real connections. They quench consumption. And the longer it lasts, the more profitable it is. Chapter 5. The Fractured Mind. Let's turn the lens inward, into our waking lives. Hayes shares the story of a mother who can't sit through pasta at the dinner table without checking Slack. A teenager scrolling 3 a.m. in the dark. A writer staring blankly at a screen, unable to commit to a novel. He describes what happens to the mind in constant distraction. Attention fragmentation, jumping from one patch of content to another, never sustained. Shortened memory windows. You forget what you started reading 30 seconds ago. A loss of empathy. Emotional exhaustion comes from living constantly shocked or amused, with no time to feel. And still, this isn't a bug. It's the point. These systems are designed to fracture your attention, scattered, momentary, easily baited. Chapter 6. Alienation in the Age of Attention. It's time for a theory moment. Comparing our current condition to Marx's analysis of alienation, Hayes draws clear lines. Just as factory workers once became estranged from their labor, we're becoming estranged from our consciousness. Our minds are being tapped, mined, and patented. Companies engineering sticky feeds won't credit us for our focus. They treat our mental energy like oil, extracted behind corporate walls to fuel ads and shares. The result? A deep malaise. We feel not ourselves. We scroll, but we don't exist. Chapter 7. Attentional War. Hayes doesn't just look at individuals, he looks at the civic impact. By now, warfare around attention has co-opted politics. Memes attacking identity. Headlines exploiting outrage. Campaigns designed less around policy and more around virality. He gives us a peek behind the curtain. Political operatives releasing soundbites that crash a debate. News agencies racing to drop a story, not because it matters, but because it's clickable. Society is not being informed. It's being enraged, excited, outraged. When civic discourse is driven by flash, fury, and attention hacking, it becomes shallow, brittle, toxic. If democracy needs deliberation and depth, what does it mean when the public is always distracted? Chapter 8. The Attention Industrial Complex. Hayes turns big. This is the chapter where he lays strain on the network, the full system. Platforms, media, politics, advertisers, all profiting from your mental capture. He calls it the attention industrial complex, a tangled web of correlations and incentives. Platforms run engagement-first algorithms. Media outlets chase engagement-first performance. Advertisers spend billions to feed it all. And you're caught in the middle. Not a user, not a citizen, not even a consumer, but the product. He warns, when powerful systems feed off your attention, unchecked, they grow. Because there's money in momentum. Chapter 9. Symptoms and Scarcities. What are the real mental health implications? Hayes gives us the data. Studies show that removing phones from students improves grades, reduces anxiety, and boosts empathy. Neuroeconomists demonstrate that attention is finite and can be diverted permanently with sustained stimulus. Social scientists document loneliness and depression rising in direct correlation with screen time trends. He warns, unlike gold or water, attention is perishable. Once it's gone, you can't easily reclaim it. You can't simply get more. That it is limited, precious, worth protecting. This is not just about time, it's about being. Chapter 10. Reclaiming the Mast. In a world of captured minds, Hayes offers a rescue manual. He invites us to become modern Odysseus, steering our lives back to mental shore. Here are Hayes's tools. Phone-free dinners, no devices at the table. Digital Sabbaths, full days off screen. Reading rituals, slow, reflective. Analog clocks, to feel time, not chase it. Mindful walks, instead of podcast-driven multitasking. He shares his own string of missteps, sideline victories, habit experiments, moments of clarity. They're not self-help hype. They're tiny acts of defiance. Each one reclaims a moment of attention. Because, again, attention is life. Chapter 11. Collective Responses. But personal habits can only do so much. Hayes turns to policy, regulation, collective power. He imagines time defaults on apps. Turn them on, don't optionally off. An attention tax, fees on highly addictive features. Open social platforms, run by communities, not corporations. Mandatory algorithmic transparency. You have a right to know how feeds are crafted. He highlights examples. Europe's nascent digital policymaking. Taiwan's civic tech platforms. Civic experiments in local governments reinventing digital moderation. Change can feel distant, but it's underway. Chapter 12. A new habitus of attention. Finally, Hayes paints a vision. Picture schools that teach deep reading and contemplative listening, not just typing speed. Libraries as quiet zones, where phones are off, minds are on. Workplaces free from notifications, so creativity and thought can flourish. Communities that embrace digital fasting retreats. Public parks inviting you to put down the phone. These are more than ideas. These are habits in waiting, a blueprint for a culture that values attention, not addiction. This has been an immersive journey through the Sirens Call, How Attention Became the World's Most Endangered Resource by Chris Hayes. We've traced the myth and mechanics of attention capture, examined its impact on mind and society, and glimpsed pathways to reclaim what's ours. If these ideas resonated, share this summary. If you want to get personal tools, a download guide for your phone, a reading list to reclaim your time, just let me know. For now, the city of resisting distraction is within reach. One moment, one look, one breath. Thank you for listening. May your attention and your life remain truly yours.